Hello everyone, my name is Nick and this is Channel njenkin and it's time for the 2-week roundup. Now I don't know how this video is going to go this time because there's some heavy building work going on next door and there's horrendous noise. There's sawing going on, there's banging going on. Now I've tried my best to shore up this room with sound protection, and after I've done the recording I'll probably try and edit out background noise, but there'll probably be noise every now and again, unless I'm an editing genius. So if you can't hear any sawing and stuff, I've done well, but I can't guarantee it. Now some of you might say, Nick, why don't you just do the recording later on? Well, I haven't got time to do the recording later on. This channel is planned with military precision, and I've just got, because of time limitations, and I've just got certain windows throughout the day to do things, and it either gets done or it doesn't. So yeah, here we go. Oh, it seems to have died down temporarily. Maybe they've gone to break, so let's push on. So, yes, before we come to the top 6, incidentally, this is the first roundup on the channel, njenkin, since we hit 1,000 subscribers. There'll be a proper video about that next week. So, not making the top 6 this time was a Commodore Amiga game. It was CARDIAXX by Electronic Zoo in 1991. Also was released a little bit later by Team 17 as a budget title, and it's not particularly good. I don't think the game is been finished properly. It's a 2D scroller, trying to be like R-Type, I suppose, and ones like that. But the control mechanism is extremely flawed. The ship moves very, very fast, and it's very imprecise. There's an annoying timer that ticks down as well. The first bit of the game is not very inviting because it starts off really tricky. We've got to take out some ground-mounted gun turrets to get through a main gateway, and a lot of people wouldn't even got past that bit. I reviewed it with cheats on. The music is pretty good, and I don't think the writers of the game from the comment section below, people giving me information, actually got paid anything for this game in both releases. It shouldn't have been released. It's not finished and it's poor. Graphics aren't too bad, end of level bosses aren't really that varied, and there's much better games out there, and that was from 1991. So let's push that away for a little bit, the nightmare that is CARDIAXX. I don't even know what CARDIAXX means. It's a fancy name, but it's not up there with names like Project X or anything sexy like that. It's like reminds me of a cardiac arrest, and that's probably what they had when they saw the sales figures and the reviews for the game. So, the top 6 then. In 6th place, on the ZX Spectrum, is BMX Simulator by Codemasters in 1987. I put this 6th. It's a budget title, so it only would have cost $1.99, so maybe I've been a little bit harsh on it. BMXing was big, particularly in the 80s, with Danny and the Mongoose gangs releasing the record BMX Boys, who was always having a lot of fun. But what can we say about this game? Well, it's on single screens and you're on various tracks as you progress versus the computer opponent, but he's just there to knock you off your bike. You must do 3 laps in a certain time span, and if you don't, that's it, you're out. I've been told this game plays better on the Amstrad CPC and the Commodore 64. I haven't played them on those systems, so I'd have to take your word for it. But the flaw with this game is, although graphically it's quite nice and it didn't cost you very much at the time, you can easily get stuck on the scenery outside the normal track, and it becomes almost impossible to drive back on again. And that's what floors it really. You get on the bike, you fall off. You get on the bike, you fall off. You get on the bike, you fall off, and repeatedly until your time runs out. And if it wasn't for that, if it's an enclosed circuit and you couldn't go off the road, then it'd be a lot better. Maybe take a time penalty, fall over and get back on again. But getting stuck in the scenery is basic programming error for me. Graphically, it is quite good. The tracks are varied, figures of 8 once you progress. But yeah, there's better games to be playing. In 5th place, also by Codemasters on the ZX Spectrum, is Q-Boy, released in 1992, so 5 years after BMX Simulator. You could option to play Snooker or indeed pool. Only other games I play on the Spectrum snooker-wise is Steve Davis's Snooker, and that's better than this, only because the aiming mechanism is so much better on the Spectrum version. Whether I was doing something wrong, I was trying to control it on the joystick, and the aiming was so imprecise, and the AI was pretty good as well, so he didn't really miss much. I tend to get my most points from him doing fouls and me getting him in snookers. Presentation of this game is brilliant. It's very similar to Wacky Darts on the Spectrum by Codemasters as well. I think some of the characters are borrowed also. If you're into snooker and you want to play this over and over again, you might get a bit of play on it. Presentation, as I say, is much better than Steve Davis, but Steve Davis snooker plays better and is more enjoyable in my opinion. So out of the two, I'd go for Steve Davis. Also as well, being released in 1992, it's quite near the end or at the end of the ZX Spectrum's run. So I don't know how many this would have sold. I think many people would have found it frustrating and would have been on the next gen at that point. Commodore Amiga and Atari ST, playing things like Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker, which has come out either already or very shortly afterwards. So that's why I've got it in 5th place. If it come out in the mid-80s, then it might have given it a bit more points, but yeah, 5th. In 4th place, I've placed MOTOCROSS MANIACS Advanced by Konami in 2002. This is on the Game Boy Advance. Now, with my reviews on the Game Boy Advance, if you're watching it on a large screen, you might think, what's going on here then? But Game Boy Advance games weren't designed for a large screen, they're designed for a small screen. Scaled on the small screen, graphically it looks a lot better than probably you're watching it if you're on a large television. Looks a little bit jerky, not quite as jerky as on the small screen again. Sound is good, there's a lot to do, a number of different characters to pick up. Takes a while to get used to it. When I reviewed the game, it was the first time I've actually played it. It came from a recommendation. Got it in 4th, but if I kept playing it, I might lift it above. I can imagine if you had it as a kid or just a few years ago, back in 2002, it would have might have turned into one of your favourites. It's 2D, level to level. It's a scroller, jumps, weapon. The premise sounds really good. Originally, this sort of series came out on the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. Good to see it on the Game Boy Advance as well by Konami, a name you can trust, in 2002. So the bottom 6 this time, not including CARDIAXX, of course. 6th place was BMX Simulator on the ZX Spectrum by Codemasters in 87. In 5th place, Q-Boy, again on the ZX Spectrum by Codemasters in 1992. And in 4th place, MOTOCROSS MANIACS Advance on the Game Boy Advance by Konami in 2002. Now, before we come to the top 3, we reviewed another PlayStation 4 game this time round, which I'm aiming to do every now and again. And this was a bit of a corker. It was Doom by Bethesda in 2016. It's a first-person shooter with a great story mode. When I first put the disc in the PS4, it said it had to download an update which was going to take 20 hours, so I aborted that and went straight into the game. But I've since been told if you wait for it to update, you get extra modes as well, which I'll have to do that then. But then they put my PS4 out of order for a while, so I better make sure I'm up to date with all my PS4 vids before I do that. Maybe I'll do it when I'm at work. But Doom itself, first-person shooter, really, really good game. Graphically, it's fantastic. The only other Doom game I played prior to this was the Game Boy Advance, Doom and Doom Advance. I might have played it on the PC back in the day. So this is a huge, huge update. PS3, I played Alien Isolation. It's sort of like similar moving around to this, but this is fantastic. Killing zombies, moving around Mars, arena-style gameplay. I'm really, really, really impressed with this one. And I'll probably go back to it. Motion Ride, subscribe to the channel, check his out if you want to. He plays really good music. Typed in some cheats which I'm yet to try, so we might have another go at that one. Doom. So let's come. You kill demonic hordes in space and Mars, so fantastic. Now the top 3. This is gonna be good, or is it? Maybe average. In 3rd place, a very odd game, which I'm still not sure if I should have it in 3rd place or lower down. I don't understand it at all. Come from a few recommendations. You obviously liked it. It was on the Commodore Amiga, Wizkid by Ocean in 1992, the sequel to Wizball, which I'm yet to review. This is bizarre. I don't know what to say about this, really. I sort of knew what I was doing as I was going along, and I sort of didn't. It feels a bit like a kid's game. So come at it as an adult, I'm a bit... yeah. Essentially... what can I say? I still don't know what to say. You control this disembodied head, and by smashing items around onto aliens' head, or butterflies or something like that, they die. They create a sort of like marble bubble thing. You get the bubble, it turns into a note, and then you assemble some tune at the top there, but you need to get the right colour notes in the right place to fulfill it. And You have to be conservative with the things that you... Oh, just watch the video. I don't know what's going on. Third place, Wizkid. Hooray. Well done. Yeah. And in second place, on the ZX Spectrum, Tornado Low Level, or TLL, by Vortex Software in 1984. Already reviewed Cyclone, which has come a year later, and my preference is slightly for Cyclone, where you're controlling a helicopter and there's hurricanes and enemies to try and shoot you down. But Tornado Low Level, it's an airplane you control, and you must go around this open world map, which was pretty cool, I would say, and fly low and catch or collect these circular targets, and they're pretty hard to get without crashing. Yeah, I've still got to get used to that, but really clever game. When you look at ZX Spectrum 48K, open world over these square buildings, look very dated by today's standards, but for the time, 1984, absolutely awesome, so I had to have it in the top 3, definitely. TLL, be a lot of people's favourites. Haven't mastered it yet, but apparently you can fly under the bridges to actually get items too. And as you progress, the items get more and more difficult to collect because you're in tighter space to do it. They start off in quite open areas and then it gets extremely tricky. Tornado Low Level, check that one out if you've got an emulator or a ZX Spectrum. And also the sequel, Cyclone. Quite similar, but you say Cyclone's a bit more advanced, but I like Tornado Low Level as well. And in first place this time, a lot of people will be surprised I've got this in first place. We don't count the PS4 games in the top 6. That'd be unfair. They stay separate. And the Amiga Revisited series that we've been doing at the moment. But in first place is Nightmare Rally on the ZX Spectrum there by Ocean in 1986. Now, this isn't perfect by a long way, this game, but it just gives me warm feelings because it reminds me of Death Chase, a game I played, and that was absolutely awesome. You control a car, and you must stay right of the blue flags, I think, and left of the red, or the other way around. There's jumps to do, and it does feel a bit open as you're going along. There's no set track. I found it quite heaps of fun. When I analyse it, look at it, I think, why did I find this heaps of fun? And I cannot explain it, which is always a sign of a good game. Nightmare Rally might be off a lot of people's radars, that one, but it is good. I mean, when it got to level 2, the flags were a bit tighter together, and I didn't get past level 2, which I'd like to do. And it's one of those games where on the Spectrum it changes colours between each level, so it feels like you're getting somewhere. Racing, jumping, spinning, and I did get a bit of a laugh out of it. Reminds me a bit like skiing in a car, if you can imagine such a thing. So if you're going to watch that, watch Nightmare Rally and compare it to my earlier review of Death Chase or 3D Death Chase. You can see sort of like an evolution, although 3D Death Chase is a bit like you're going through the Endor Forest in Return of the Jedi on a speeder bike. So similar but not similar, but it's just the movement of the thing I really like. Okay, so in third place then, I was reviewing this, is Wizkid on the Commodore Amiga by Ocean in 1992. In second place, Tornado Low Level by Vortex Software in 84. And in first place, Nightmare Rally by Ocean in 1986. Now you might have noticed I didn't actually mention the pinball tables we've been looking at, which I normally do at the start. So that's totally and utterly my fault. But why the noise is low, I don't want to restart again. I think we've had a lucky run. So let's just come to those two quickly. On the Pinball Arcade, Season 6 we've just started. Indianapolis 500, released in 2017. Based on the real-life table by Bally in 1995. Based on the Indy 500 series, which Fernando Alonso is going to race there this season. He's going to miss the Monaco Grand Prix, which I think is a bit odd, because that's the race he would have had the best chance at, but that Honda engine must be so bad in the Formula 1 car, he thinks I ain't got a chance anyway, and that speaks volumes. But Indy 500 is an okay table. Features speech and commentary from American commentators, so people in the UK might not know that as much, but you probably enjoy it more if you're in the US. It's okay, you do laps, there's a crazy video mode, you have to avoid obstacles, things like that, and I reviewed these on the PlayStation for both these tables. Hooray! Why didn't I cover these at the start? Well, there we go. That's just me being a wally. Season 6. I don't think all Season 6 tables are released at the moment, so I might have to wait for the last ones, but we've still got a bit of a run. And the other table, again, it's a sports-based theme. Again, it's a US sports-based theme, based on baseball. It's Frank Thomas Big Hurt 2017, based on the real-life table by Gottlieb, again from 1995. I don't know too much about Frank Thomas, but I had to Google him for that review, so check on this review if you want more information about him. But he's a baseball player. The table is set in a baseball ground, which is pretty cool. Again, commentary, I think, real-life commentary there. The idea is to get home runs and basically win the game. It's like, do I prefer it to Indy 500? I think they're similar, really. I have to be 100% honest. If I was going back to a set of tables doing my favourite ones, neither of these two will be in it, but they're okay. They're good recreations of real tables. And what I've found, the difference between the PlayStation 4 Pinball Arcade to the PlayStation 3, which is quite interesting if you're thinking of upgrading, is the shadowing is so much better. It does add a bit of depth. Sometimes it makes it a bit trickier because you can't see the ball as much before it's basically on the flipper, but well worth the upgrade. So yes, it was all about Nightmare Rally this week. That was numero uno. We'll keep the videos going, one a day at the moment, although it is pretty tough depending on my work schedule. So yep, I love your comments and keep putting them on. That's what keeps me going. And thank you for getting me to 1,000 subs. Although we'll do a proper video about that next Friday. So yes, thanks for watching as always. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.